Hello everybody, greetings from northern Ukraine. My name is Sergey and I want to tell you a little story about the village I used to spend my summers in. My grandparents used to live here and I was coming here every summer break from beginning of June till the end of August and had the great time, great memories playing with my friends and helping my grandparents. Right now we're in northern Ukraine, Chernihiv region, about 20 miles away from the border with Russia and Belarus. And we are staying in the end of the street that used to be part of the village. There are about 16 households or homesteads that are abandoned right now. In 80s and 70s and earlier than that, it was a bustling little area with people having their little farms, cows, pigs, chickens. All this grass was nice and short cut, mowed by not lawnmowers but the cows. And now it's quiet, abandoned. And I want to tell you a little story about the places that people used to live. To the right you could still see some remnants of the barns. That was a Gonchari family. When the husband passed away, the lady moved out to the town to live with her kids, and the house was taken apart. All they left is a couple remnants of the barns, nothing else. To the left, here there used to be my grandpa's brother lived and his wife. They didn't have really good relations. He was drinking hard, and according to the rumors, she used to be quite friendly with German soldiers when this village was occupied. And they believed that the only kid they had was actually a kid from the German soldier. But of course nobody could prove or disapprove these rumors. After her husband hung himself in the barn, this lady was single for a long time. Then she had a guy who was a beekeeper, a really nice guy. He fixed the house nicely, and he told me the stories about him escaping the train going to Siberia. And all that's left here is the remnants of the gate and remnants of old style barn that covered by, it's not actually a straw, but is a plant that grows along the rivers. But that's how the Ukrainian houses and barns used to be covered by this kind of tall grass that looks like straw. Was lasting for years. This roof is probably over 50 years old, and see, if it wouldn't collapse, it would be still looking pretty good. The house was taken apart after the lady passed away. First the beekeeper guy passed away, then the lady. She was single, as I said. Her daughter died when she was a little kid, and she was found dead about 3 to 4 days after she passed away, and her cat, being hungry, ate the most of her face. So they had to cover her face by the blanket when they buried her. House was also taken apart. All we have is the little remnants of the barn. All the power lines are cut down. We have a bird's nest. This road was never paved, but it was always well traveled, so there was all sandy tracks. Now you see just overgrown grass. To the left is another abandoned house. This is overgrown by wild grapes. Makan family, he was a World War II veteran, and the government gave him a free car, Zaporozhets. So he was the only guy in this neighborhood who had a car. After he passed away, his wife also moved to next door town to live with her kids. And the house was abandoned. Nobody had interest to buy it or rent it. There's bushes to the left. is also, can't even tell there used to be a house there. It's all overgrown, but it was a lady and her mother. I barely remember her mother. She was in her 90s when I was around 10-year-old, so I just remember old lady who was walking around with the cane. After she passed away, the lady her daughter lived here, and she was a hardcore alcoholic. She was drunk all the time, and it's all I pretty much remember about her. Still some fruit trees standing here, and looks like some people are cutting grass for hay. And here we are approaching my grandparents' house. My grandparents were born in 1907, in June 1907, and my grandma was from village next door across the river, and my grandpa grew up here. They passed away in 1981 and 82, but we still use this house as a summer home till like 1997. Then it got into bad shape. See, it's still standing, half of it. Roof collapsed, windows got removed, glass got broken. It's a classical Ukrainian Russian log cabin style with the like cement tile roof. And over there used to be barns. My grandpa went through World War II. He was captured twice. First time he was captured in 1941, sometimes in the fall, and he was in Smolensk, Russia, in a POW camp along with his brother. And when he realized that they're not gonna make it because there was such really bad conditions and hardly any food that Germans gave them, they managed to escape. They hiked, walked back home to this village, hiding in the woods, or sometimes people let them stay at their houses. He told me once a story that they were sleeping in one house and they found something dry in the bag that tastes pretty good. It was like a snack, but it turned out to be dry frogs. Lady was drying frogs for the winter because she expected there would be no food. And when they came back, they didn't stay here for long. Got captured again by Germans, and this time they went all the way to Germany, and they spent the rest of the war in Germany. And actually Americans freed them, and they came back to Russia. But because there were traitors, according to Stalin, because you can't give up, you're supposed to fight to death, they were sent to Donbass, Ukraine, to rebuild coal mines. So they were in a labor camp there for one time. It's there that my grandpa almost died. It was such a bad conditions, and grandma basically saved him. She managed to get a paper from the collective farm that the collective farm really needs him as a manager, and she went to Donbass and brought him back. This is another abandoned house. Chernish family also lived here till beginning of 90s. Then his wife passed away and he moved closer downtown, closer to the center of the village. Although he had really nice place, metal roof, which is really good, really expensive used to be to put here. And this place now is abandoned too. He was really a handyman, really good woodworking guy. He built the boats for the local fishermen, flat bottom wooden boats. Across, there used to be a house that was taken apart in the 80s. There was an old lady named Alashka lived here. She was a very curious lady. Every time you walk by, you could hear she is peeking through the cracks on her fence to see who is coming along. Also, her son took apart her house when she passed away for firewood. All left in the back there is the cold storage. So now it's quiet and pretty much dead here. Nothing going on. And this is how the many villages in Ukraine look like right now. They're slowly dying because parents send their kids to the big cities in 50s and 60s, away from the hard life and collective farms. And those kids left and never came back, and when time came, parents passed away and all this became abandoned. Over there in the trees there was another house. I was a kid when those people passed away. It was an old clay built house, built out of clay blocks, and rumors were that the lady were a witch. And I remember when I was a kid, we were walking around that house and peeking through the windows being scared because I thought her spirit's still around there. This was always empty field when I was a kid, but it's called Meshkove. So there was Meshkov family lived here, and house was taken apart in 70s. So there was always empty field where the cows were grazing. If you look back around, back there were no woods. It was a clear field where the cows were. But after everything got abandoned, trees are taken over. Here we're approaching another house. Misha Makan's family lived here. He was also a World War II veteran. He lost his left arm in the war, and I was always amazed watching him doing everything with his right hand, cutting wood, chopping wood, making his own cigarette out of homemade tobacco, using the newspaper. He was a very nice guy. I liked to hang out with him and listen to his stories. He was kind of bitter person because apparently his wife was also kind of friendly with German soldiers during the World War II. So also were rumors, of course, but he didn't sound happy. Got a pretty woodwork. Windows are taken out. Also was a very nice house. All these trees are grown in the last 20 years before it was wide open, and I remember riding around here on a bicycle. There was a house here on the left. It was abandoned quite a long time in the 80s. A lady who was our mail delivery person lived here for a while. I think she also had issues with drinking. House got abandoned. Real nice area, really quiet, close to the small river, close to the forest, woods where you can do mushroom picking and pick wild berries. It's really quiet, but the village shrunk quite a bit, and everybody now tries to live in the center of the village, close to the grocery store and a post office, and so several kilometers, a couple of miles, there's nothing. This is a house of my friend Dima. Also, parents passed away. They were quite a bit younger than my grandparents, so grandparents passed away in the beginning of 90s, and their daughter that lives in town next door, she had no interest of keeping a house, and nobody was interested of buying it, so now it's also going to despair. People taking off siding and taking roofing off this house. A lot of good memories of my childhood is from this place. There was another house on this side. All you could see just remnants of the fence. This lady passed away in the beginning of the 90s, and her son took a house apart. Now that son is also dead. As you can see, this barn already is missing the roof. People taking shingles for their own place. This house on the left had an interesting history. It was empty for a long time. Then the people from Belarus came back and they set up the greenhouse and was growing roses and other flowers. He was doing really well, making a lot of money. This house had a lot of cool ornaments everywhere, which you can kind of see the remnants of it. But then when the Soviet Union collapsed and the border patrols showed up, he started having a hard time sending his roses to Belarus, where his kids were selling them, so he ended up taking everything apart and moving to Belarus, abandoning this house. I'll show you one more house, and that will be the end of this short story. Actually, two more houses. This is house another friend of mine, Dima, Moroz family. Also, they passed away, and the wife passed away, and the husband moved to his kids to Belarus, and it's where he passed away. Nobody interested in this place, and you could see people started working on this house too. Taking the roof off the barn, taking gates off. There were interesting rumors about this guy who lived here. Some people were saying that he looked way too young for his age, and there were rumors that he had a criminal record when he was young, and during the war, when his brother was killed, he assumed his identity, his documents, so he lived all his life under his brother's name, who was 10 years younger. But it's always rumors. There's always rumors in a little village. Really nice house, also metal roof, and it's gone. There's another house. You can't even believe there is a house, but it's all overgrown by wild weeds. Also another friend of mine, his grandparents lived here. And this house also got abandoned in the middle of the 90s. You can never hardly see the house. And it's going on and on for quite a bit more. Empty houses or remnants of the houses. There used to be a busy village. The village next door, Ushanka, is pretty much out of several hundred homes. There's only about 12 occupied right now. And that place officially is not a village anymore. They closed the grocery store, they closed the post office, and now people have to go shopping or to get supplies to our village or the village the other way. Hope you like this story. It's sad, but I think it's quite interesting. Thank you very much. Goodbye.